All right, I want to take a little time to go over a few things that the PowerPoint doesn't talk about that people sometimes struggle with in this section. One thing you'll be asked to do at times is to evaluate a function. Now, this is number 38 and 39 from 7.1 in your book. And so what we're going to do, these happen to be g of x instead of f of x. That doesn't matter. So I'm going to evaluate g of x at two things. First, when g is 3, and second, when g is negative 3. To do this, I'm just replacing the x in my function with 3. So for number 38a, I'm going to have this. I'm going to have g of 3 equals 3 squared plus 4. That means that g of 3 equals 9 plus 4, which is 13. So when I evaluate g of x at 3, my answer is 13. That's what I would put. Now I'll do the same thing for negative 3. I bet you can already guess what my answer is going to be. For g of negative 3, still learning how to use a pen, well, I'm going to have negative 3 in parentheses squared plus 4. And again, that's also going to be 9 plus 4. And I'm going to have the same answer. So g of negative 3 is also 13. Now I'm going to do the same thing with number 39, which is minus x squared. Now this is important. This is not in parentheses. Okay, so first I'm squaring x, and then I'm taking the minus of it, the negative of it, I should say. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do of g of first g when g of x when g is 4, and then when g is negative 3. So I replace my x with the value in parentheses. So this is g of 4. I'm doing number 39 now. G of 4 equals negative 4 squared plus 2. This is where people might mess up, and remember, this is what we went over when we talked about exponents and order of operations. We do the exponent first because it's not in the negative sign is not in parentheses with the number. So what we have is negative 16. 4 squared negative 4 squared negative 16. Negative 16 plus 2 is negative 14. That's our answer for g of 4. And then we'll do g of negative 3. And we're doing this for number 39. So now I have minus negative 3 squared plus 2. So now notice I have these two minuses, right? Because I have a minus and then I have a minus here. So I have two negatives. So this is going to be negative 3 squared is 9. The opposite of 9 is negative 9. Negative 9 plus 2 is negative 7. So to evaluate a function, plug the value of the function in to the replacing whatever variable is here. If it's x, replace x with whatever is here. If it were z for some reason, replace z with whatever is there. If it were q, replace q with whatever is there. Now I'm going to do a couple more examples. If you want to listen to them, if you don't, that's fine too. All right, so I have this function, f of x equals 5x plus x squared. I'm going to evaluate this function for these three values, for f of 1, f of 0, and f of negative 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is f of 1. So I'm going to rewrite this as f of 1 equals 5 times 1 plus 1 squared. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 squared is 1. So f of 1 equals 6. Now I'll do f of 0. For f of 0, I just replace x with 0. So 5 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. F of 0 is 0. And then I'll choose f of negative, I'm doing f of negative 5. So I have 5 times negative 5 plus the quantity negative 5 squared. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. So f of negative 25 is also, so f of negative 5, I should say, is also going to be 0. You could also do this for a variable. So you could also do this, well, what would this be if f were a? You do the same thing. This would be 5 times a plus a squared, and you'd be done. So that you aren't going to have to do this for our problems in this course, but some of the extra problems in the book might have that in like the extended section, stuff like that. So I hope that helps. If you have questions about this, let me know. This is a question that shows up on quizzes all the time. I think it's a final exam question too. People kind of struggled with this last semester because the book talks about it, but the PowerPoint with the book doesn't. So I wanted to take this time to explain it a little more to you. Good luck moving forward. If you have questions, please let me know.